What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Show, where I, Graham Cheese Matthews, break down all the original content you watch on the WWE Network and on Peacock. Today we're talking the August 19th, 2024 edition of Raw Talk. Megan Morant, Sam Roberts in the studio, opening up the episode by replaying the Triple Threat WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match from Raw last night. We hear from Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, the retaining WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, in that matchup with Jackie Redmond backstage. Fire says they want to take all the confidence from this win and bring it into their match on SmackDown against the Big Three on Friday night against Naomi. They're teaming with Blair Davenport. It's against Naomi, Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair. They preview that matchup. Isla Dawn also says the Big Three will get what's coming to them in that matchup on Friday. Sam Roberts says if they're as half as good in six-woman tag team action as they are in triple threat tag team matches, because remember, they also won the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships in a triple threat tag team match back at Clash of the Castle. If they're as good in six-woman tag team action as they are in triple threat tag team matches, then they should be pretty good for Friday's match against the Big Three. They preview CM Punk against Drew McIntyre in the newly announced strap match for Bash in Berlin. They also replay the Sheamus win over Pete Dunne, a great match from Raw. Sam Roberts says he doesn't think Pete Dunne is done, no pun intended, with Sheamus yet. I hope not, because I hope there's more great matches to come between the two. They replay the New Day tag team win alongside Odyssey Jones over the Final Testament on Raw. Kofi Kingston hopes that they are indeed done with the Final Testament. They hope they are behind them now. We hear Odyssey Jones celebrate, get excited, they walk off, him and Kofi walk off. Xavier Woods says that everything's great, but he's not nearly in as good of a mood as Kofi and Odyssey are. So clearly there's still some simmering issues there. You could see him visibly annoyed by the fact that Kofi tagged in Odyssey and not him during that match on Raw. So there are some issues still lingering there, which I like. I hope we still do get a New Day split of some sort at some point. I don't know how feasible that actually is or how realistic that possibility is, but I hope they do go through with it at some point. Hopefully on the sooner side, so we're not waiting 8 months for it, as people have alluded to on Twitter, because that's the Triple H approach, long-term storytelling. Not everything has to take a year to 8 months or whatever. It can be a couple of weeks or a month or whatever. That would also be totally fine. Sam Roberts says that Kofi's been getting kind of messy lately, is what he says, by not really considering Xavier's feelings and shit like that. So, again, something to kind of keep an eye out for. They replay the Judgment Day attacking Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, the Terror Twins, as they call themselves, on Raw on Monday night. Sam Roberts goes on this rant about how Damian and Rhea think that they're better than Judgment Day. He has like a segment on the show. They don't do it every week, I don't think, where it's called As a Matter of Fact. And then he goes off for like a minute or two about Damian and Rhea and why they're in the wrong and all this other shit. And it's like a classic heel rant, but it's not really entertaining. Megan eventually cuts him off. She eventually cuts him off and is like, all right, on to the next thing, because it's like, I know it's part of the show. It's a scripted show, obviously, but the rant was kind of annoying, and it's like, okay. Sam was really good at his job, but when it comes to shit like this, like it's kind of over-the-top Jesse Ventura, Bobby Heenan type heel shit, which for him doesn't really work as well as it did for them back in the day, so that was kind of weird. Anyway, they replay Maxine Dupree versus Ivy Nile, or at least what we got of the matchup briefly in the time that the match lasted. It didn't last overly long, but we saw that in the Wyatt Six attacking Ivy Nile and American Made Chad Gable. They preview Uncle Howdy versus Chad Gable one-on-one for next week's Raw. Looking forward to that. They also replay Bronson Reed beating The Miz in a no disqualification match from last night. We hear from Braun Strowman and The Miz afterward backstage, and it's not really an interview. They're just kind of bickering back and forth. Strowman says that he came out there because R-Truth called him. And he goes, R-Truth is like slowly starting to lose his mind, and we're already well past that point. But he goes, yeah, Truth must be losing his mind because he keeps calling me Andre the Giant. And he thought I was the Intercontinental Champion because, Braun Breaker's the Intercontinental Champion. His name's Braun Strowman, not Braun Breaker. Get it? And Miz says, well, you know what? If there's going to be an Intercontinental Championship tournament, maybe I'll have to, because he thought he was the IC Champion, like he said. So that was Miz's segue into talking about, maybe I'll enter the tournament and become the new number one contender to the Intercontinental Championship. And Strowman says, hopefully I don't get added in there, but I'll have to focus on Bronson Reed first. And I wasn't really sure what he meant by that as far as not entering the tournament, unless I misheard him. I think he meant, if I'm in the tournament, I'll have to face you and beat you. I assume is probably what he meant. Otherwise, why would he not want in that tournament? But he will face Bronson Reed first on Raw next week. They preview Braun Strowman versus Bronson Reed for that show next week, obviously. They also recap the opening segment from Monday's Raw before replaying Randy Orton beating Ludwig Kaiser in the main event. In the post-match brawl, the Orton laying out Gunther with an RKO. The show went off the air before we could see the rest of the brawl, but we saw most of it here, of what we did not see on Raw last night. So they preview Gunther and Orton for Bash in Berlin for the World Heavyweight Championship. Roberts also mentioned that he was impressed by Kaiser in that main event, as he should be. That was a really good match, and Kaiser's great, so I'm glad he's getting more opportunities to shine. And they also hype up the Intercontinental Championship #1 Contenders Tournament, kicking off on Raw next week. So, pretty decent edition, I thought, here of Raw Talk, hearing from the New Day, Odyssey Jones, Braun Strowman, briefly The Miz as well as the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. So, thumbs up for Raw Talk this week. I hope to be at Raw next week in Providence. No confirmation yet on that, but hope to be there at the show next week, and it's shaping up to be a pretty solid show before Bash in Berlin. Not this weekend, but the following weekend on August 31st. So looking forward to that as well. Thank you guys for checking out my review. I appreciate it. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Have an awesome one, folks. I'm Graham G. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.